This is a follow-on video from my previous genetic cross videos, and this video will look at dihybrid crosses. So previously we have been looking at monohybrid crosses, and monohybrid crosses involve the study of one characteristic at a time. So what this video will show will be dihybrid crosses, and a dihybrid cross involves the study of two characteristics. So say for example, plant size and flower colour. So here is a typical dihybrid cross question. The first thing that you need to do is always read the question and underline the key points. So there is variation in seed shape and seed colour in pea plants. So round capital O seeds is dominant to wrinkled seeds. So that's the first thing that I'm going to write down. I'm going to write down that round is capital O because it's dominant, and then wrinkled, it's going to be small o because that is the recessive trait. So that's the first thing that we can identify in this question. And then it says that yellow, capital Y seed is dominant to green seed. So the next thing I'm going to write down is capital Y equals yellow because that's the dominant trait, and therefore small y is going to equal green because that is the recessive trait. So the first question is, write the genotype of a plant heterozygous for both traits. So heterozygous just means that it has two different types of alleles. So the genotype of the parent plant, which is heterozygous for both traits, it's going to have a mixture of both big O, small o, big Y, small y. The second part of this question is, what are the possible gametes produced by this plant that you've named in the previous question? So what you have to do for this is where Mendel's second law comes in. And what Mendel's second law states is that each member of a pair of alleles can combine with either member of another pair. So what you need to do for this type of question is you basically have to multiply out the different variations that the offspring can have. So that means that capital O combined with capital Y, capital O can also bind with lowercase y, and small o can combine with capital Y, and small o can also bind with the small y. So these are the four possible gametes that can be produced by a heterozygous plant. Part 3 of this question, how does the production of these gametes at part 2 above demonstrate Mendel's second law, so the law of independent assortment? That is basically what I've wrote out here. The next part of this question, the plant at part 1 above is crossed with a plant homozygous recessive for both seed shape and seed colour. Show using the Punnett square how the following result was obtained. So the first thing that you need to do is underline the important bits. So the first thing is that it was the part 1 plant crossed with a plant homozygous recessive. So that's going to be homozygous, which is the same, and recessive, which is lowercase. So it's going to be like this. So this is the two plants crossing with each other. The gametes that are formed from the first one, which is heterozygous, is what the answer in part 2 is. The gametes that are formed from this homozygous recessive one is just or y. Okay, so small or and small y. And the reason, like if you were to do that cross the over method that I done in the previous one, the only outcome that you're going to get is small or and small y. So what's the point of writing it out 4 times? So I'm just going to write it out once, small or, small y. So the next step in this is to do the Punnett square. So I'm going to draw it out now. Again, it doesn't matter which one goes on the top, which one goes to the side, but I'm just going to write the first one along the top and then the other one along the side. So if you were to do the genetic cross, you would just do it like normal. But this time you're going to keep the O's together and the Y's together. So it's going to be capital O, capital Y, small y. The next one is going to be capital O, small y, small, capital, small. Okay? After this then, what I would do is write down what the phenotypes were. So those are the genotypes. The phenotypes is the actual physical appearance, so describing in words what the genotypes are. So these results can be seen in a 1-1-1-1 ratio. The last part of this question then says, identify the genotypes of the offspring that introduce variation in the cross at part IV above. So to tackle this question, you need to know what is the phenotypes of the parents. So the first one here, the capital R, capital Y, small y, that is going to be round and yellow. And then the second parent plant is small r, small y, that is going to be wrinkled and green. So to answer the question, to identify the genotypes of the offspring that introduce variation, the answers are going to be this one, round and green, and wrinkled and yellow. And those are the answers because neither parents were round and green, nor were they wrinkled and yellow. So they're the ones that introduce variation in the offspring.